Hello everyone, Anthony John Agnello here for GamesRadar Plus and a review of Star Fox Zero. I'm joined by our staff writer David Roberts, who spent the last few weeks playing and reviewing it.
Hello! Yeah, I've been pretty neck deep in barrel rolls for a while now.
Doing the barrel rolls.
Always barrel rolling.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what Star Fox Zero is? Is it a remake? Is it a whole new game? Is it Star Fox 64 2? Where does it fit in the really kind of grim Star Fox canon after Command, where Crystal, breaks up with Fox and Slippy leaves to go start his own business?
Well, Star Fox Zero is not that strange, but its place in the canon is pretty strange. It's not really a prequel, it's not really a sequel, and it's not really a remake of any of the games either, but it kind of is. It's a retelling of Star Fox 64, which was in itself a retelling or reboot of Star Fox in the SNES, and it pulls a lot of the same story beats and action sequences from Star Fox 64. The initial assault on Corneria, that's there. You fight the rival mercenary group Star Wolf, that's there. Falco is still a giant tool. And you're still on rails for much of the game, so it is still very much in that vein of classic Star Fox 64, where you have the on-rails segments where you're funneled to whatever your objective is, and you just shoot down everything in sight. And then there are also the occasional open-air arena sections that give you a little more tactical freedom, but you're still just shooting down everything in sight. It also pulls from elements from many different parts of the series, as well as bringing in a few ideas of its own. And all of it is given the sort of the Platinum Games treatment, because they collaborated on the game, which, if you played Bayonetta 2 or Transformers Devastation, Platinum Games, of course, means lots of fast combat, big explosions, and huge set pieces.
So Star Fox traditionally has had set pieces here and there where there's the fights against Star Wolf and stuff like that, but what kind of set pieces are we talking about in Star Fox Zero?
So it has a lot of that stuff. There's, you'll fight Star Wolf in those big open areas. You'll have to fend off missiles that are trying to blow up a dimensional gate. There's one in particular that's really cool that has you blasting past a huge enemy armada, boarding a galactic cruiser, transforming into your little walker robot guy, taking it down from the inside, all in one relatively unbroken motion. The set pieces aren't as impressive as over the top, I should say, as something like Bayonetta 2. But there are some really cool parts in the game that make you go, oh, this is what Star Fox in HD is supposed to look like.
You mentioned that Star Fox Zero has a lot of greatest hits moments, that it revisits things from past games, like Star Wolf showing up, the assault on Corneria. Are there new scenes? Are there actual, new things that you would consider greatest hits moments for Star Fox?
So there are a few things. There's the Walker, which looks like a big metallic chicken. It's technically not new, because it was originally in the canceled Star Fox 2, but this is its sort of big debut, and it's really fun. You run around and you blow stuff up, and you can transform into it at will. It's pretty great. It's kind of like a more maneuverable version of the Landmaster tank, which is also in Star Fox Zero. Then there's the Gyro Wing, which is a totally brand new vehicle, and it is just top to bottom not fun to play. It bogs the pacing down because it slowly hovers from point to point, and you have to scour your environment looking for terminals to hack, while this little robot that's attached by this bungee cable drops down and walks over to the terminal, and then you hack it, and the gate opens, and then you go through. Its blasters are really weak too, so you're encouraged not to engage enemies while fighting it either. Luckily, it only shows up in a couple levels, but the moments that it's there they're not great.
So I guess the big elephant in the room here is, how about those gamepad controls?
Yeah, this is where everything just falls apart for Star Fox Zero, because even with everything that I talked about before, it's, as much as it sticks to its sort of roots, it's still a fun game. But Star Fox Zero, in addition to being a reboot to the series, it's also Nintendo's attempt to legitimize the gamepad and its many features as an actual input device, and not a total, not Nintendo's biggest failure since the Virtual Boy. So Star Fox Zero uses all of those features and integrates them into the core design of the game. So the TV screen shows the more conventional behind-the-ship view of previous Star Fox games, while the gamepad gives you a first-person view from inside your cockpit. You steer your ship with the analog stick, and you aim your reticle by actually moving the gamepad around. It's
sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's not great. It never feels natural. That's the problem with it. It's like patting your stomach while rubbing your head, but there are people also shooting at you while you're trying to do it. There are moments where I used it to gun down a ship that had flown past me that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to shoot down, but the handful of times where I thought the motion controls were actually useful are vastly overshadowed by every other time where playing the game felt unnecessarily frustrating. Especially in those big arena-based boss battles, those are particularly frustrating because the TV screen turns into a bird's eye view of the action. So you have to mentally process where your ship is on the screen and with where your reticle is on the gamepad. And yeah, like just the mental gymnastics you have to do to bounce back and forth between them. It's frustrating. And after a few hours, I finally got it down, but the nature of Star Fox games means that by the time that happens, you've already beaten the game. And I was already working on a second playthrough already.
That is sort of a Star Fox thing. It is a very short game that you're meant to play over and over, right?
Yeah, that part's pretty standard. The whole point is going back to old levels that you finished, getting higher scores, finding secrets, and unlocking new features, and exploring levels for hidden shortcuts. There's a small selection of modes outside of the campaign, and no local multiplayer besides a co-op mode, which splits piloting duties between two players. So the overall package feels kind of slight, but that's kind of typical for Star Fox. It's a fun romp. You go and you blow stuff up for a few hours and have fun. And that's fine if the controls were actually fun to use, but they conspire against you at every turn, and as a result, the game just isn't that much fun.
That sounds like an absolute bummer, man. What is the score that you have given Star Fox Zero?
So I give Star Fox Zero a 2.5 out of 5. There's a fun game in here somewhere, but the unnatural controls hurt it way more than they help. It's totally unnecessary. I wish there's a way that I could play this like a normal Star Fox game, because then at least I could enjoy it on its own merits. It's a damn shame, really.
Well, everybody, we wish we had better news for thirsty Wii U owners desperate for a new game, but unfortunately it looks like Star Fox Zero, after many delays, has a few problems. If you want to read more about Star Fox Zero, go and check out Dave's review at gamesradar.com and read the full breakdown, and catch more reviews and other videos like this on youtube.com/gamesradar.